It's funny how my first word was no. Um, but in the course of life, we are taught to say yes. Excuse me. I still think of the book, um, Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes, or I think is it called the Year of Yes? I think it might be that. Um, and I think being able to say no, and no, I'm gonna start this correctly. I'm going to say being able to say no traditionally has become somewhat of a privilege. Namely, getting to a certain age or getting to a certain level of seniority, you're then allowed to say no. But we are taught that when you are young or when you are first starting out in your career, the best way to get ahead is to be amenable, to be, and I'm not saying flexible is a being flexible is a bad thing, but most of the time it's more about bending and contorting yourself into the shape that somebody else wants you to be, irrespective of your values and or opinion, and just doing what is being asked of you, which is very different to, being flexible in general. um and I realized that a no is is a word that we should use a lot more often. That no is a full answer depending on the context, but if there is a no and an explanation is required, that should also be enough. But unfortunately, that is not the reflection of our lives. It's no, and then for people to feel comfortable with a no, you have to provide 5 to 10 million reasons as to why you've said no, which usually requires some sort of interaction to convince you to do something else, um, which is then which then removes you even further away from what you're trying to get at. And for me, this is the really important thing, that you don't always have to say no to prove a point to get your practice in. But there's this part around, how can I carve out space to understand what my no's are and why. What is it that I can do? What is it that I can't do? Because your no's are of course linked to boundaries, but sometimes your no's are just linked to wants. Sometimes I just don't want to do something. That is it. It's a justification, or it's a reason, rather, not even a justification. It's a reason. But sometimes I don't want to do it, so it's a no. And I think this is sometimes the hardest part of personal life, professional life, but striking the right balance with no's. And it wouldn't, because everybody expects to hear yeses. And if there is a no, there's the expectation that you have to provide something else, or even more, to justify not being willing to do whatever.